Hello, Trey. Welcome to the We Live to Entertain podcast.
Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So we met on the set of a vertical.
Yes, sir.
Yes, under similar circumstances. I was doing some BTS interviews and it was a really fun piece by our friend Deji. Yeah, it
It,
was,
it was a wonderful.
yeah. So how the rest of that night shoot go?
I remember that's hilarious because that I remember that night shoot. I think it was a monologue that I had to do. It was one of the most stressful things I've ever done because it was
Heyo.
because I'm pretty sure that was the night where I think I kept stumbling or like stuttering over the monologue.
Uh-huh.
It's this large block of text. I remember it
Yeah,
taking
that was a hefty monologue you had, but it
yeah,
was an important one though. It was
it's an important
striking.
one. And I don't I was also just not feeling well. So I think we took until what 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
Oh
But I
man.
remember that being and I think it got to the point where like all the other actors left because I was taking so long.
Right. And they're like,
But
we're just gonna like
we're just gonna
punch
exactly.
in and get you.
It was a learning experience and it was I was definitely like, damn, like what am I doing right now?
Right.
But I think we've recovered since then. But no, I still had a great time on the set and everyone was so supportive anyways. So it was a learning experience. It was a learning
Oh, that's
experience.
beautiful news. Beautiful news.
Yeah,
But, hey, a lot of great things have, the beautiful thing about our medium is when somebody foots the bill of trying, like adds to the
yeah,
museum of attempts, beautiful things come about. Like, we're able to meet today and have this conversation and I'm excited to dream aloud and hear your perspective on where film is going,
absolutely.
right? Yeah. So, as we were saying earlier before we hopped on, congratulations. You have recently, you know, fulfilled our ancestors' wildest dreams. Could you tell us a bit about your background, where you're coming from, where you're going?
Yeah. My hometown is Las Vegas, so I've lived in Las Vegas for most of my life, but
Ah,
USC came along out of nowhere. I applied to a creative writing program in Dornsife, but I also got my minor in cinematic arts, and so that's how I kind of got my love for acting and filmmaking, was able to kind of explore it. But yeah, it took 5 years, but I'm happy that we got there in the end. And I graduated this past May. I walked last year, but was having to take the last few remaining courses. And yeah, we're done. We're done. And I'm currently right now doing my last, I guess, like program affiliated with USC, which is like the summer RA. And then after this is done, it's life, you know? It's having to figure out life.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we're here to talk about exactly that, life and
Absolutely.
the creative process and how we can support each other,
Of
first of
course.
all. It
Always.
feels like, I have friends that just got out of school. I have friends that are about to go into film school and friends that have been out for like 6+ years. And we're
Yeah.
all at the same thirst for community.
Craving for it.
We're
Yeah.
all in the same, we're all yearning for the same like cohesive proving ground. Not to say it was like better when everybody was able to climb out of the mailroom,
Yeah.
but at least they weren't trying to like, automate the mailroom. There was an
Uh,
understanding that you had to come from somewhere and you had to go somewhere.
yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
But hey, that's they're the hand that feeds us, now we can feed ourselves.
Honestly.
And
Yeah.
it coming to that realization, especially under the project that we met on and how things have evolved since that project even.
Mhm.
It's an exciting set of
Welcome to our
discussion
own
points we
content
can have
today.
today. But yeah, I mean, so the creative so USC fell out of the sky. Were you always drawn to the arts?
I was I wanted to originally be a computer programmer, and
Hey, me too.
yeah, honestly, I had a teacher, Mr. Mann, in Shadow Ridge High School, and there was this coding class I did like for most of high school, and I was obsessed. I was obsessed, and I thought that coding was going to be my thing.
Mm,
Shops, I did like programs over the summer, and then I always had a love for architecture as well because I just love buildings and man-made anything, any structure. So honestly, I thought it was going to be those two. And then I realized at a certain point during COVID, during my college admissions process, that like the decisions I was making were for other people and not for myself. And I think that's at the point where I realized that filmmaking and acting, I honestly wanted to just do filmmaking. Acting didn't come along until later. I got into
Mm.
USC, but I think I always wanted to, deep down, I always wanted to be in the arts. I think I knew in some way that I wanted to be involved for sure. I think it's because of my parents. They always made sure to, give us like story time or give us these activities to just kind of tap into our creative or our imagination and whatnot. And so I think, yeah, I think I've always wanted to be creative and always wanted to work in art for sure.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that's what we cling to most of the time when we think about our childhoods, when we think about like, okay, what mark we want to make on the world. Sometimes it's
yeah.
just externalizing that safe place that we felt, that safe feeling.
Honestly, yeah. My mom, she, I think, gave us the grounds or gave us the tools to be comfortable with wanting to be artists and wanting to be creative. Like my sister, she's a wonderful painter, like just artist. She
Hmm.
draws a lot and she is amazing. And my brother is a musician. My entire family is extremely talented. And our work ethic is just phenomenal. So we all definitely got it from our parents. And so I
Hmm.
think yeah, I think I've always wanted to be creative, man, because that's just what I've been seeing. And that's what our family would consume. We have our
Uh,
Friday movie nights, we have our activities, all that stuff. So it was always, yeah, it was a playground.
Yeah, even on your your first choices, your computer science and your architecture, those have definite creative flourishes
Sure.
too. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love reading about Paul Revere Williams and all those trailblazers there that it's the same fight too, where it's just as important to strive to be like a Ryan Coogler,
Absolutely.
you know, Mario Van Peebles, as it
Absolutely.
is to be like a Paul Revere Williams. So yeah, I mean, you couldn't have picked wrong.
Man, I'm happy to be in this space. I'm happy to be able to meet creatives like you and be able to just just talk about the art, but then also just creating with beautiful people and just people
Hmm.
doing the same thing. It's just putting stuff out there, just being ourselves. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you said acting was it a did it emerge as a necessity to fill a role that you had in a cycle film, or did you find it? How'd you find it?
My thought process was that I was going to go into filmmaking and I was going to have that be my only thing. So I wanted to do either, I think, director of photography, or I think I wanted to be director. I think originally I wanted to be director. And I was like, why don't I just try to find any way to get onto a set? And so I was doing like gripping or production assistant stuff. But I think acting was the first way to get into a set because it was like being a background extra for like some dude's project, some dude's production project that I did, where I was like, having to do a horror project, it was like zombies or whatever. I think I got in through that, and then acting was what I did for a bit, and then I realized that I could, because people knew me, that I could get on a set just being like, can I just help out? So that's what I did for a while. Of like, there was a month where I was doing everything under the sun. Every weekend, I was either a grip, production assistant. I was boom. I was like, I want to do every single field so I know how to get involved. I can expand my network. And it worked. But at that point, I think I was realizing, okay, I think I want to do film and acting. I think I want to do both sides. And so since then, it's just kind of been balancing those passions for one another. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's beautiful. I love how you jump all the way in on
dude,
things.
I was going. It was bad. Like it was every single weekend that I had something free. I was like, I'm going to be on a set, and it was so tiresome. But
Hmm.
I mean, that is what people do for their entire, that's what they do for a career, where they're just on the set for months at a time. So I was just like, this is a learning experience. Not everything is for me, but I do know that film is everything I want to be for, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then it seems like between the classical training and the filmmaking chops, You're finding your you're finding yourself in a space of overqualification. And the beauty of that overqualification is that you can break down barriers for other people. You can be
Absolutely.
modular,
Yeah.
get in where you fit in. It's what we love to say.
And allow, yeah, space for other people to be themselves and be able to create without, limitation or without having to worry about belonging or anything. Yeah. It's been a really cool experience seeing that for other
Oh,
people.
totally. Yeah. Now, personally, just from what I'm observing, it feels like, you know, it almost feels like we're setting our clocks to what Issa Rae's doing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
honestly.
almost feels like we've evolved beyond the vertical as the prime export of the moment. It almost feels like we're
Yeah,
circling back to, you know, independently distributed films.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like with recent successes like Obsession and Backrooms, we're pouring into a lot of young auteurs, and I think that's really exciting. Do
Yeah.
you have any theories on how we can pull the medium into the future even more?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like any attempt to uh push back against AI, I think I think any attempt to do away with that is probably going to be the path forward. I think the recent successes of Backrooms and Obsession. I remember I think King Parsons, I want to say that's his name, for Backrooms.
Mhm.
Seeing the success that he's made, but then him also actively being like, I don't do AI. Like I do not respect AI.
Oh yeah. He's he's
Yeah,
he's calling him to task better than Curry.
yes,
7 years as senior.
better than some companies too. Yeah, like he's been so adamant, and I think being so honest about that and being so completely adamant about that is the way forward. I think
Hmm.
any act of rebellion is probably going to lead to innovation or whatnot, and I think that's an exciting thing. And I cannot wait. That's a good point too. Of like beyond the vertical, I do think we're kind of going back to the indie film or like the indie film circuit because I've heard some companies are like what scouring Reddit threads for story ideas and stuff.
Hmm.
So I do feel like we
Yeah.
are kind of going
There's
back to
a bright side and a dark side to it because
yeah,
similar to how AO3 and Wattpad are
yes,
getting their fanfics just ported into books,
yeah.
it's speaking to, yes, a deep bankruptcy of creativity,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
also
Oh, absolutely.
but also it gives you an idea of who's who's holding the torch for these mediums.
That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, the amount of remakes and the amount of stories that are being told over and over again, whether it be live action or remake. Yeah, I think it's quite clear that we are at a point where originality is quite a rare thing. I mean, especially in the blockbuster era, or at least with the larger films, with like an original film, it's just so rare to come by nowadays. I think it's exciting to see that more original ideas are coming to light, or at least being able to more tools are being given to us so that more original ideas can be distributed and whatnot. I'm thinking like Iron Lung with Markiplier and a
Yeah.
couple of other stuff. There's like you don't need the the studio so much now. I feel like you have the tools to kind of self-fund it and do your own thing. And that's really exciting to see. I feel like that hasn't happened ever.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
And since you put your Malcolm X glasses on, I was figuring we could take a page from your character in this Verticals book. For some
Yeah.
context, he was a very Pan-Africanist, basically, right?
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Very,
Okay,
very
right.
passionate, very well, revolutionary, I'd
Very
say.
revolutionary, pro-black,
Yeah.
very yeah. So how do we shape all of these tools, like grasp them mindfully to shape an Afrofuturist future
Ooh,
in film, in, parity of opportunities?
I think using these tools, I think first to make people more knowledgeable.
Mm.
I think
Hmm.
knowledge is the most important commodity right now. I think a lot of people aren't. knowledgeable about their past or their history. I still am not. And I feel like if a lot more stories are being told about, African American, just African stories in general, that are just catered to African audiences rather than trying to cater to the mainstream, I think that would definitely be a first step. I think more stories being told about whether it be revolutionaries or I went to this I had this New Orleans Maymester this
Hmm.
past month, and we were going to plantations like in person, and that was my first time ever. And there was I'm forgetting the name of it, but it was ah it was like the largest slave rebellion in the US,
Hmm.
and I have never once heard of it before. It was I can't
Okay.
the German Coast Uprising. It was a German Coast
Right.
Uprising.
Yes, I've heard of the German Coast Uprising.
Yes, I want to say it was that, but I might be wrong. But I've never even heard the
Hmm.
concept of a slave rebellion. For some reason, that was so foreign to me. I actually didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know
Hmm.
that they actually revolted, like a physical revolt. I didn't know that. And I feel like that's something that makes so much sense that that would happen. And I just had
Hmm.
no clue. And so I feel like stories like that need to be told. I feel like
Oh
stories like
yeah.
that, yeah,
There are like upon recording this, we have Young Washington coming out.
yeah, yeah.
Now, why we have, you know, Angel Studios play at making another Hamilton cinematic universe situation
Uh,
is questionable. But why, why don't we have, we had, you know, eh, Nate Parker's Birth of a Nation.
mm,
We had, we've had a Nat Turner Rebellion movie. We
yeah,
need a Haitian Revolution movie. We
yeah,
need, you know, German Coast Uprising movie.
yeah,
Even some earlier colonial stuff where it was like, that uprising in New York, the Wall Street one.
yes. I just
So,
read. Yeah.
it's a it's very interesting, and it does fall under the concept of Sankofa, I guess, to try to
Mm,
evoke, you know, our history. It's like, yeah, we let the past, we reach back, grasp the past, and we let it inform our future. And yeah, for me, a lot of the themes that I reach for is joy and almost like
yeah.
normalcy as a revolutionary technology.
Mm,
When I think about a story, I try to think like, okay, how many regular black people can I just fit in here?
yeah. That's
And
rare. That's rare.
particularly around like themes such as boyhood,
Yeah.
particularly around themes such as, just making our way through life with a dual consciousness.
I love that you're saying this because I have this thing where I feel like a lot of, black films are we, uh, either trauma or,
Hmm.
just issues that plague our race, but I feel like we don't even have like the rom-coms or we don't have like the joyous, films or,
Hmm.
the Black Panther is probably the only blockbuster that we've had
Yeah.
that was Black
I
cinema.
mean, it feels like we keep having these big core sample stakes, these big flares that are sent in the air. We've
Blade Runner,
got Moonlight, Black Panther, Rye Lane.
and then nothing else really.
Yeah, flatline.
And, and I and I think you saying that, like that's really wonderful. I think a huge step towards just Black cinema is just getting it to a point where we feel like we can have a movie for everything, or it's not, Black history. It can be a Black rom-com, it can be a Black sci-fi film, it can be a Black Western or whatever, and just having that feel normal because it feels like it's such a huge event whenever a
Hmm.
genre film comes out, when it should be that's, the norm.
Right.
And
And it's not to say that all these moments don't exist
yeah,
in the mosaic of films that have
sure.
happened before, because, things that have been rediscovered from the LA Rebellion,
Yeah,
like all the like Killer of Sheep, Personal Problems, all of these lovely movies that deserve to be modernized the same way that A24 and goes
yeah,
back to modernize a French film like Sentimental.
absolutely.
I just saw the invite, so yeah, it wasn't
I want to
me
watch
trying to be like a lofty pull. It's just like I literally saw that last week, and I'm like, the
I
same
would,
way we rehash French New Wave, we need to go to Algeria and get their films.
and just have these new voices be heard that a lot of audiences have not heard of or are not knowledgeable about at all. I
Hmm.
think that would be a wonderful opportunity to kind of not get in the same. I don't want to say like I don't want to say white cinema that because I don't want to say that, but like
No, it's I mean, we need to reflect the times. We
yeah,
need to reflect the global majority.
yeah, it, and just make these films more global and more international
Oh,
and
absolutely. And
yeah,
we only stand to benefit. And the world, we're
literally
in a social political moment where the world is moving faster than we are as the people that are purporting to have the biggest culture. Culture is our biggest export.
absolutely. I,
So, as the culture makers within that, because you know that everything we do gives ripples out to every other community,
in every other culture.
you know, imagine if we had the educational infrastructure, and this could be a non-governmental organization.
Yeah,
This could be just filmmakers entrenching themselves in the community to the point where we have, you know, kids in the hood just dictating culture as they do,
yeah.
but with the knowledge of how important their part in the greater tapestry of all this is.
And how and recognizing how important that is. And
Exactly, because you
yeah,
know, when I think about, just like you were saying, it was a beautiful point. When we're talking about advancing Black art without tokenizing grief,
yeah,
like that Black Mirror episode,
yeah, that's a great token.
hmm
I like that. Yeah. That's yeah,
like
really what it is.
we, that feels like an 80-year wrestle we've been in.
Mm,
Honestly, 120 years since since that camera test, since that beginning of the history of film, since everything Jordan Peele was talking about in Nope.
yes.
So
It's
we
on
need
point.
spaces to theorize about that
Mhm,
without fearing being blackballed,
mhm.
without fearing the idea of us losing clout. Because
Losing
I feel like everyone's so addicted to clout and a certain version of success
mhm.
when, and this thought's been on my mind, it's a bit of a non sequitur, but what is the price of entry to a village in this day and age, in your mind?
Price of entry into a village. Ooh, wee. I mean, I feel like the price of entry maybe is what individuality, maybe, or
Okay. Yeah,
self.
it could be your individuality, it could be your
Yeah,
desire to protect and grow the culture.
yeah.
You know, it's almost like we need to unpack what this decentralized village is if we are trying to link back to, you know, our place in the global majority
Yeah.
de-escalate these diasporal wars and just come to the place where w- like film's been democratized, but our minds are still colonized.
Ooh. Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
we're working on it. Yeah.
Minds are still colonized.
And this is not, it's not a personal failing. It's a systemic thing, and this is the work that we are lucky enough to have cameras in our hands to
Yes.
dispel.
Yes. To be able to tell our own stories.
Right. Telling our own stories, filling in the gaps of genre that have gone, far too long without being commented upon again.
Yes.
And we see it in waves, just like we see like all that stuff in the early 90s we were referencing.
Wait,
It did come like we had the Woods in the late 90s. We had Love Jones. We had all these wonderful rom-coms you were talking about. The
yeah,
Best Man. And even I was watching a Princess Weeks video and she reminded us of the cultural touchstone moment of when The Best Man sequel came out,
my mom loves those films.
made up all that money,
I love watching them, man.
got them shaking.
And then nothing after that, and then nothing after that for
Right.
however long. And I don't like that we can have a genre film like a Sinners, or we can have something
Hmm.
like Get Out or Moonlight, but then it has to take another what 10 years for
Oh
something else,
yeah.
for something
The
else to emerge.
snapback, the
Yeah,
quiet violence, the
but
quiet
some
retaliation is real.
And it's just, I don't want it to take that long. I don't want it to have to be this momentous occasion every time
Mm,
it happens. Obviously, every time it happens, we're going to celebrate it, but I don't want it to be this, we're going to recognize all of this, and then we're going to be like, oh, we're moving our culture forward
mm,
and we're making racial progress, and then nothing happens for another 10 years. But also, I don't want every film to have that responsibility
hmm.
of being this, uh this huge achievement for progress. Like I don't want to have to something on the level of centers to happen every single time. Like I want the small ones. I want the I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but
Oh,
like
yeah, I feel you there. It is a deeply conflicting situation, but I feel like Sinners was a nice little epoch event.
it was a huge cultural event and a huge
Oh
cultural
yeah.
thing. But also just the fact that it was so universal and acclaimed
Hmm.
by all, which was such a huge win as well. Whereas like I feel like maybe Black Panther was more like that was a win for us. That was one for our culture.
Mm.
And I feel like Sinners was like that was one for everybody.
Oh,
And,
absolutely. And the amount of ancestral veneration conversations that kicked off thanks to Sinners.
and a lot of the historical references that were finally like recognized and acknowledged, and that was very lovely to see. It
Mhm.
just a testament to Ryan Coogler too, because like that
Right. To me,
genius.
there's this interesting, I think the Sinners effect is going to be felt for years to come
Oh, for sure.
because we've had Sinners last year.
Yeah.
We had Is God Is this year,
Yes.
which
And
was beautiful.
to see that.
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely just the way they did it in theaters, you know, not a fan, but
What
it was a
happened?
lovely movie.
Just like a limited
Brought together
release or
some
what?
amazing talent, and I am very excited to see more from that director.
Was it the fact that it was
I
a
feel like our responsibility as cross-competent, you know, workaday artists,
yeah,
just boots on the ground, folks that know how to grip, folks that know their way around scriptation and things like that.
yeah.
We need to create the feather beds for these big creators to lay back on.
Mm.
And this is an opportunity to do this organizing work.
Yeah,
This is an opportunity to map the collaborative nature of film onto the the cultural and existential urgency of community organizing work.
yeah. Which I feel like we kind of resort to more than ever now.
Right, right. So, and that like as much as I love some of the changes happening, like honestly, if you just look at it in the macro, Universal is showing up for diverse audiences in a big way. Because if we
They
count it up, we've got just this year, we've got them distributing Yumi and Tuscany.
mm,
They distributed the Michael movie.
amazing.
They learned a lesson through focus features with Obsession.
Hmm.
And, I'm taking a pretty holistic view of diversity too, because, it's not every day you get a movie about, poor kids in a small town
Hmm.
that, are talking about, you know, okay, how do I deal with my relationship prospects mapped against limited opportunity and economic stratification?
Hmm.
Obsession had some good themes going on.
It was exceptional.
Right. And, for us, I feel like. for me, it's just so foundational where it's like we need these spaces to gather,
Mm,
which is why I'm very grateful that we started this conversation today.
appreciate
We
you.
need, honestly, just proving grounds workout groups.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of filmmakers do themselves a disservice by viewing themselves as islands.
Where they have to do everything alone. They have to be
Hmm.
solo. You don't have to
Either
look
they
at
do
anyone else.
everything alone or they have to be the guy with the story.
Whereas they don't want to rely on anybody else. And
Hmm.
if they want to win, they want to do it for, yeah, they want to do it for everybody, but they want to do it alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be born from a place of ego. They're the only person to do it, but it's like
Just how they're
we're
wired.
all we'd all benefit from a rotating core of artistic collaborators.
Yeah.
But whereas before, an entity, an investor was pouring into you directly, now I feel like it would benefit us to pour into a guild.
I can see that.
Right. It would be since everybody's got a production shingle. It's just, the Susu idea that comes to mind all the time, where
I
it's
can see that.
like everybody, when it's your turn, and you're always preparing for your turn,
Yeah.
but you're always waiting for somebody. You're working on somebody's set.
You're
You're
somebody to give you
you're
an
commenting
opportunity.
on somebody's pitch deck.
Mm.
You're in the mix. And I feel like that's where the future is now.
Constantly hoping to get somebody else's, so for someone to give you an opportunity or to give you a branch for you to latch on or something.
Right. And then it wrests more power back from, you know, the uh the people that make taste slowly.
Mm.
Now I know I've been getting a lot from going back to older movies and just in the Afrofuturist lens, just realizing like, oh, we we inspired this thought, then the thought was paved over.
Hmm.
And now it's time to reclaim it through these emergent alternative aesthetics, through the accessibility of the technology and the skill sets to go the distance with this stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, what are some of the most influential films for you?
Singing in the rain.
Yes.
Singing
I love me some Donan and Kelly.
that Gene Kelly, that film was, I think, very reaffirming for me. Was very affirming for me in that I was like, I think I love cinema. I think I love this medium, and I think I want my entire life to be centered around this. But I think also, besides that, La La Land, which is so cheesy, but La La Land, because that
Oh, you're
was
a
my
musical guy in a big way.
I'm a musical guy, man. I did not realize this until like 2024. I was like, do I like musicals? And I was like, yeah, I do. Like,
Do I like
do
this?
I
Is this
like
my
this?
thing?
Is this what I want? Really? And I was like, yeah,
Ha!
I love it. I love La La Land, and I love any film that's like a love letter to Hollywood or to that golden age. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, what else? Babylon. Like Damien Chazelle, I love Damien Chazelle.
Like a
But
splashy, opulent.
yeah, dude, I love grand, like just a film that's grand and oh my gosh. But I mean, there's so
Yeah, you
many
could just,
films.
I mean, when you see the budget on the screen, it feels good.
It feels so lovely.
Like I
It's
was watching through a little bit of Atonement and just all the scenic elements.
how
You just get
the
lost in
setting of it.
that house, and it's like, oh my God, the upstairs, downstairs
I
of it
want to
all. It's
be
so cool.
there. I want to be a part of that.
Exactly. I want to be there.
I want to be there, man. And
Yeah. Not a musical, but yeah,
anything. I want to all of
I
that.
definitely feel you.
What about you? What's your favorite film?
Oh gosh. Lately I've been making this list of movies of my heart songs. Some of them are
It
very bad, but
doesn't matter.
they make me feel like me.
That's all that
So
matters. That's all that
that's
matters.
something I'm starting to value more. Johnny Mnemonic was a great
I
rewatch.
haven't seen that. Is it a good movie?
It's so good. Okay, so it's like Keanu's been
I
telling the story of the Matrix for a while.
I
Like if
wanted
you
to
look
watch
at
that.
it,
I
he's
wanted to
did
watch
Johnny Mnemonic. He did The Matrix. He did Johnny Silverhand.
I
He's been
wanted to,
warning us for a long time.
I wanted to watch it in black and white. That's how I knew about it because I saw someone that was like, "There's a black and white cut," and I was like, "So what is this
Yeah.
movie?" So I want to
I
watch
could
it.
see that. I could see that work really
Yeah,
well.
and so
But
that's
like honestly, iced tea's in it. It's
okay.
enjoyable.
Why not?
Got some hokey moments. One of my favorite movies of all time that really, you know, you can feel when you have been, when toxic masculinity has de-escalated in your mind.
Hmm.
And this movie actually really helped for that. It's Ruby Sparks
Ruby Sparks.
with Paul Dano and Zoe Kazan.
Ruby Sparks.
So basically, imagine you're able to write your perfect girlfriend
Okay,
and all the power and folly that that entails.
I'm bookmarking this, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate it, appreciate it. This is what it's all about, the cultural exchange. You'll have me going back and looking at Singing in the Rain again. I remember, I mean, God bless TCM.
Dude,
Like,
I was just looking at stuff about Dune Part 3 and the Technicolor, the Technicolor of a certain particular seeing how it looked like t Technicolor. And I was
uh,
just like TCM and like MGM and all these other
mhm.
studios. I wish we could go back to that era or at least try to recreate it as faithfully as possible. Because
We, it's interesting because we can, but we were having this similar talk about like it again, this is the Jeff Goldblum of it all, where it's like just because we can doesn't mean we should.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Because I mean,
And
great.
in a lot of ways, streamers like Apple are doing like the modern equivalent of that. Like, of
Yeah,
course, it's sans the film grain, but we have multi-season big swings
yeah,
creatively. So to say it's not happening, you know, might not capture the complexity of the moment,
yeah.
but to say that we have this near infinite store of completed works that we should be pulling from and
Absolutely.
revising.
Absolutely.
Like I just think about the monogram picture movies that my mom loved back in the day.
Mm.
And it's okay, those things that are just about to fall off of the celluloid, like they're all just going to degrade and they're all going to be lost forever.
Yes.
Like in the silent films and the early talkies,
And we can't
why
bring
don't we just option those, pour into their restoration, and like have film be more self-sustaining?
rather than just keep it in a vault for it to just be
Exactly.
locked away and for no one
Right.
to
But it
be
takes
down.
somebody like you who understands that there's more work to be done to get people to cultivate taste.
Yeah.
To have and taste not in an elitist sense, but
No.
in the idea that we need to stand on business about what we like.
Yes. Be
And the
adamant.
building blocks of who we are shaped by the media we consume. So we need to expose ourselves to better media.
We could
We
be
need
giving
to
birth.
utilize this democratized moment, like the camera in our pocket. The only thing stopping us from, making something like Singing in the Rain, there will never be another Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
But the only thing for us stopping us from trying is practice and the culture of attention capture that
Mm.
seems to be prioritized over the culture of making good art.
And by doing so, we can give birth to another generation of filmmakers that grew up on
Hmm.
the idea of a new filmmaker being influenced by something made in the 1920s or 40s or 60s. Like that is
Hmm.
amazing. That is exactly what we want.
This is going to sound like another left field thing, but have you seen the Minions? Minions versus
Of course,
Monsters.
I just saw Minions versus Monsters. I saw how many references there was to just that era, and I was
Right.
like, this came out of left field. This film that was just apparently just about cinema, that was just about filmmaking, and I
I
love that.
mean, Werner
That's
Herzog
amazing.
is just droning in my ears, like raving about the Minions.
Like that's
Where this
insane.
isn't a real interview, this is just a hallucination in my head. He is saying
Hollywood.
couching it in the aesthetics of the worker is brilliant. And it's talking about, like the artist talked about, how sound pushed out people that whose first language wasn't English or whatever, or couldn't, didn't have the vocal training. And, the artist captured that aspect brilliantly. But I'm surprised how hard the Minions ran with the prejudicial angle.
That was
There was a lot of good racial commentary in there, and it was like reclamatory of, the factoid that keeps this Betty Boop nonsense that people keep complaining about. Quinta
Mhm.
deserves to be Betty Boop in the story, and the minions are supporting that case.
that entire film, the fact that it was just so it was such a loving tribute, but also
Hmm.
so honorary about all the films that came before, and but
Hmm.
it's also just kind of not formatting it, but putting it in this this modern 21st century minions aesthetic or whatever. It
Hmm.
makes it where these kids that are watching this film could be like, oh, what's that from, or what's that about, or
Right. Like,
like
mommy, what's that? Why did
I
the
love
house
that.
fall on him?
Yeah, why did the house fall on? Like, why
Hmm.
did the who's that? Oh my God. What about the moon? What was that about? Like,
Exactly.
I love that. I love that there's so many references and there's so many ways for someone to
And that's like its own through all the filmmakers, just the legion of filmmakers that have been inspired by those moments. You
yeah,
have, like, I'm thinking of 5 films just to show kids about the Lumiere moon
exactly.
situation. I'm thinking of 5 films to show people like, hey, if you like stunt videos on YouTube, you should probably check out Buster Keaton.
Yes.
And these are the through lines that we need to bake into culture.
That
And,
out.
these and raising kids, scary, hardest thing ever to imagine right now. So when I think about our role as culture makers, as cultural curators,
Gotta be as knowledgeable as possible.
exactly. And to provide, not even just the parents, but like flood the zone with the tools that will actually like give them something.
Absolutely.
So, that's where we
Absolutely.
got to go next. But what keeps all this fresh for you?
What keeps all this fresh for me?
Yeah.
I mean, I am a huge lover of consuming uh anything that I don't know. And so there's so many films that I just have not watched that I know are the best of all time. And old and new. And I'm just constantly just, making sure that I'm keeping myself open to any genre, any kind of filmmaking, any kind of period of time, foreign or not. And
Mm.
just yeah, keeping fresh is just wanting to just watch everything, wanting to just know everything that there is to know in the world. Like I just watched I just watched Drive for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that I was watching I'm blanking right now. I'm about to watch Resurrections, which was released in I want to say 2024, but
Okay.
it's by the filmmaker oh, it's not showing up.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But
It's
yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful point. Sometimes these movies find you when you're ready for them. And it's like I kick
no,
myself all
literally.
the time for not, you know, having like I haven't watched all the Evil Dead movies. And now we
I
have a new
also
Evil Dead movie out.
and now there's a new one.
Exactly. So now it's kind of like I kind of want to like swerve around. I want to watch,
I
Army
want to
of
watch
Darkness. I
everything.
want to watch,
I mean, literally watch every
why do
genre.
we get this IP that, also a big problem for me that I'll comment on real quick is particularly with like things like Evil Dead is goreflation, where it's like
Mhm.
this is more existentially gruesome than the original ever was,
Mm.
you
I mean,
know?
yeah, I mean, people are
And
becoming more and more desensitized.
to have that image proliferated without the root context is interesting. Like, yes, it's part of the cultural moment we're in, but is just something that I feel like we need to keep an eye on, especially as we have like this conjecture machine running in the background, metabolizing it all through AI.
I mean, we are becoming desensitized.
Exactly. But hey, no, I mean that's where we're going next. Um, but yeah, in terms of building your own,
Terrifying.
how do we do so in community? How do we do so with like doing the right reading to develop parallel systems and activist filmmaking?
Say again?
Like I met it like okay, I'm lucky to have like a copy of Asada's autobiography over here, Dick
Mhm,
Gregory's autobiography over here.
mhm,
Um, and I'm thinking about how they handled their careers. So when
mhm,
we're talking about like activist filmmaking, like we can try to address the system. For me, I think it is a hybrid understanding, just like we're seeing like just like we saw in the Minions. Let's like Minions is actually like going to be a really base teaching tool for a while,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I'm real happy about that. But when
Absolutely.
we're looking at like, activist filmmaking, giving people the somatic tools that they need, whether it's through providing them with the story that they need, whether
Mhm,
it's providing them with, knowledge of the resources that they need. Like I'd like another movie similar to Devil Wears Prada.
mhm.
Like there are some sorely underserved entire genres.
That are completely missing out right now. I mean,
Exactly,
because we
exactly. Like almost a whole genre of film through the 90s and early 2000s was like, "Oh, hey, look at this person with a quirky job. Let's learn about this quirky job while they also have a little romance." But now, since all jobs are being automated, we can't have those.
It's because I mean we've eliminated pretty much that middle ground where we had the blockbusters, but we also had the indie films. But there
Mm,
were so many mid-level or I guess mid-tier films with, I guess I don't know, middle budgets, smaller budgets, whatever,
hmm
that were being made that were, the comedies, that were the rom-coms, that were the I don't know, just that the genres that weren't being typed into so much. It's been completely degraded over time or completely phased out to the point where we don't have that anymore. Either it has to be a blockbuster, it has to be AAA, or it has to be some small indie level film. And there can't be really no in between. And if it
hmm
is a mid-level, then it's probably something that's a franchise starter or it's something that has just based off of adapted from a property from back then, a remake or whatever. So I don't really, I feel like they phased it out completely to the point where we don't have that anymore. And we're just getting so much of, not I don't want to say slop, but we're getting what we're being fed. It's so very particular and it's
Yeah, it's a
not
heavily
really
productized
very, yeah,
landscape with
it's
some
very,
beautiful exceptions, but they're a little too rare.
more often than not, if I look at what is streaming or if I look at what is available on the AMC app or something,
Mm.
most of those films are not, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch
hmm
that. No way.
Yeah, I mean, I might watch it because I have four of them to burn in a week,
Yeah,
but
I can check that out, but like, is it going to be worth my time?
yeah.
No.
But yeah, I mean, that's like a whole value paradigm situation where we have, you know, I think it does go back to how this one of these creators that I enjoy, they talked about the reversal that's going on right now, kind of this shock at looking over the abyss, and then it's like, hey, I don't like where, the market solution is going right now, so
Mhm.
I'm going to go learn piano. I'm going to go do things that feed my soul. Like, like Kurt Vonnegut says, grow your soul by writing stories.
Mhm.
I feel like there is an interesting, like, little rift in the armor to pursue as creators. There's this like humanist reawakening that is definitely like whether or not our actions allow ourselves to divest from the system, it's
Mhm.
kind of immaterial because like we're going for remembrance of this moment. We're
Yeah.
going for like coaching people into the next step.
Yeah.
So I'm more than willing to plant seeds to for a tree that I'll probably not enjoy the shade of.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just to take a more practical approach to it, it's like someone's got to be the production manager for it.
For sure.
Somebody's got to be somebody's got to pick the right PAs that are actually going to like not just pad their resume with the opportunity,
Yeah.
but to get, to carry that torch forward and benefit from being in the mix there. But
Yeah.
first, there has to be a mix.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm excited for your journey and what you've got, what you've got in store. It's gonna be great. Now, I mean, hey, we need more movie musicals, period.
Dude, I can't tell you how many ideas that I have floating around.
Mm,
Just like that either being a tribute to the Golden Age of cinema or just kind of following the footsteps of Singing in the Rain or La La Land or just these large epics. I think I want to make epics, man.
ooh,
I really do.
epics and musicals.
Yeah.
I love where you're heading there.
Just want to make things that are just large in scale. Like I just want it to feel so grand. And just like those yeah, man. Oh my goodness. I have so many.
Hmm. Because when we're talking about how important it is for us to think at scale like this,
Yes.
it's not lost on me that Oscar Michaud like wanted more for himself despite making 100 plus films.
Mm,
It's not lost on me that we are constantly fighting the shifting sands of, you know, an industry that's determined to cover us up.
yeah.
So, I remember being at AFM back almost 10 years ago now, and we were talking about the Nigerian film market. And I was just thinking, I'm like, man, Nollywood's really got it going on. And since then, they had I mean, the several African properties have been very successful. But when
Yeah.
it comes down to it, it's like there were some strong footholds in Netflix, and it's like we keep having to learn the introductory lesson over and over.
Yep.
But it's like, does it take us going over there to learn the 201? Does it take, I feel like it takes a lot of dismantling of mutual acrimony between people in different groups,
Yeah.
that's only serving our oppressor.
The tensions that exist between. Yeah.
Right. So when we're, I we gotta keep dreaming about it. But in terms of does LA make sense anymore is a thought that comes to mind a lot. And how do we make it make sense? Because I want to move.
Well, I mean, LA feels like a creative hub. Maybe it's just not where we can actually do the creating, but I want LA to continue being the creative hub or this place where all the ideas are coming to fruition. But I mean, I think it'd be a wonderful thing if I'm thinking of a project and I'm like, why don't we shoot it in Nigeria? Why don't we shoot it elsewhere, overseas, or shoot it
Hmm.
some where the ties are just more, giving them more of a market or giving them more of a economy to get going. I feel like that would be a wonderful thing. Or yeah, I don't know. It's just there's a lot of different ways of going about it. I feel like we have more tools now than ever. But obviously, I mean, everything is so. I'm literally thinking of what was the idea that I had just had? Just the fact that going back to earlier, where it was like the black stories that are being told. I would like it if we were telling the black stories and it wasn't necessarily dependent on, this white producer giving you money or
Oh,
this
absolutely. But
this
well, I mean, we've got a lot to talk about in that way because when we think about what's sorely needed,
yeah,
it's like our own writers incubator and
yeah,
our own film fund.
yeah,
And it needs to be a repeatable model that every funding body can just like pick up and copy.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's where a lot of these like, people that have had a stint in corporate and now are moving to like the personal branding thought leader space, that's where they come in. Yeah, so it's almost like we can use how the creator economy is maturing to leverage a lot of that infrastructure that we need because these people like their comforts
Yeah.
and we like to be able to make films. And if people like alternative investments, we can create that guild system we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely.
So, I think it's just about whittling down a lot of people's reluctance to take a bet on one another rather than to be, you know, poured into and like to gain a follower.
Mm.
And it takes a certain kind of mindset, somebody who is just interested in seeing cool stuff happen. As an actor, I always like to say, I'm like Goku. I just like to fight strong guys. I'm just
What's the
here to
biggest
be in a
challenge?
scene, man.
What's the biggest challenge? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of it because the world has adopted so much more cultural competency than the last time we were afforded the chance to try.
Mm.
So I'm optimistic about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Do you
do.
ever hit any regional theater?
Dude, I up to this point, I haven't done.
Okay. Definitely keep an eye on some of these shows coming out because there are it's not a movie musical, but there's always like Musical Theater West is always doing something great. The Amundsen Theater always has something great, and a lot of these tickets are
Amazon
pretty
Theater,
accessible.
the Amazon Theater, I've that's the one I've been
Yeah, we
actually
had Mamma Mia coming through, Phantoms of the Pantages, but we got some stuff.
anything that you've seen, anything that is out there, I
Hmm.
probably have not seen. Like genuinely, like I'm still such a baby in terms of what I've consumed for
That's
film,
okay.
theater. But my love for it is so great, and I know that I'm constantly seeing something new all the time, which excites me. But there's still so much that I don't even know about,
Oh,
and
okay. Well,
I
that's
not
why we
really.
need community. That's why we need you know, that's why we need people with varied interests. And, that's why we need to have conversations like this. So thanks so much for meeting up with me today.
No, I appreciate you always. I mean, thank you for even thinking of wanting to talk to
Of
me.
course. What's the best way we can support you as an audience?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I have my social media. I have my website, my uh that's a great question. I mean, honestly, the most recent thing that I was a part of that I'm very proud of was the outtakes, which is on Roku, and that was a huge achievement that I'm even honored to have been a part of. But yeah, that's on Roku. That's for everyone to watch if they'd like to. But yeah, I mean, just on my social media, I'm always posting stuff. I'm not afraid to post.
We
And
love it.
if there's
Trey
anything
Dyson the fourth.
if there's anything new that comes out, I'm always gonna post about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad we had a chance to chat. And yeah, I mean, off mic, we'll definitely be figuring out ways to advance some of the goals we found.
Oh, we're gonna figure it out. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, I'm excited for you. It's
Come
going
on
to be
now.
great.
Come on.
All
I
right.
appreciate